Welcome to the NCDWI Guide podcast, where defenders of the Constitution assemble to prepare for courtroom battle and firm owners gather to develop marketing strategies that will revolutionize the practice of criminal defense. Here's your host, the NCDWI guy, Jake Minnick.
Hello, fellow freedom fighters, and welcome to episode 108 of the NCDWI Guy podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about the importance of voice search. If you don't know what that is, we're going to get into it today, and that's okay because it's a relatively new thing that we're all dealing with at this point and getting used to. But the impact this is going to have on the legal industry and in your practice is going to be tremendous over the next 10 years. Let me be clear before I get too far into this, that a lot of this is stolen from Gary Vaynerchuk. I have seen him talk about this a couple of times now in conferences at the CRISP Game Changer Summit, the last couple of summits, as well as listening to his podcast. So I don't want to pretend like this is some original thought process, but I would like to kind of apply this specifically to the legal industry. We're going to be talking today a lot about the power and importance of branding and referral business. And so if you haven't listened to episode number 41, we talked about maximizing referral business. So go back and listen to that episode. It's really going to be important once we've gotten to the end of today's conversation to realize how much value there is in referral-based marketing. And so go back and listen to episode 41. So what is voice search? What is voice search? Well, voice search is something that has popped up relatively recently due to kind of software innovations by Google, by Apple. And it is what allows us to ask Siri, to ask Alexa, hey, play me this song, get directions to this local restaurant, order this item online. All of those different inquiries can be voice commanded into your phone. And this is going to change the way that the legal industry is interacting with a consumer, a client. So let's go back 30, 40 years. Attorneys that are have practiced for that long can say that they've built really a business over the last 30, 40 years, maybe based primarily on referrals. When I was first coming into practice in Asheville in 2009, there were a lot of local attorneys, and there still are a lot of local attorneys that really were not advertising anywhere. Didn't have a website, couldn't find them online. They don't have billboards. They didn't have ads in the newspaper, on the radio. Basically, 100% of their clients were either former clients or referrals from former clients, other attorneys, people they knew in the community. They had built up an incredible referral-based marketing practice. And I think that for some attorneys who have built up such a strong referral-based practice, the need to get into online marketing, digital marketing, really just didn't exist because of the practice that they had generated through referral-based marketing. So with the advent of the internet, this really changed the legal atmosphere in a huge way, because now somebody that was fresh out of law school could basically, without having any built up practice, without having any current client base, without having any referral based marketing system in place, without any source of new clients, new leads coming from other referral partners. Now that person that just graduated law school could immediately compete. And how did you do that? Well, you got online and you start a website, and maybe you get a kind of further down the road, you got into Google Maps listings, and you created organic content, blog content. Then you started looking at pay-per-click advertisements, and pretty quickly, if you're competing online for any search that's going in, as long as you are at or near the top of page one of Google or whatever search engine the client was looking at in terms of trying to find an attorney in a specific practice area, you had a good chance of getting that call. If somebody was searching for an attorney, your website might be one of the few websites that was up there if you're kind of first at the table. And so you may not have a lot of competition. Attorneys that have been practicing for much longer may not have even had a website. Attorneys that had been, some of the best trial attorneys in the country may not have had any presence online whatsoever. And so the person fresh out of law school was able to go on, develop a website, be client directed, and answer frequently asked questions by clients, create blog articles based on that, and basically get up on the first page of Google searches. Google My Business has now basically kind of taken that, or I think this is now soon to become like Google Maps, but Google Local Services, that has become a primary means of how attorneys are showing up in a client's search for an attorney. Is practice area specific? How many reviews does this particular attorney have? That is all part of the consumer process. But we are about to step back into a very, and I mean, this is going to be a huge change. We are about to step back into a very referral driven consumer client choice. It's going to be very referral based because of voice searching and mobile searching. So when people were searching 10 years ago on the internet, and even at that time, there was starting to become a decent amount of mobile searches, but 10, 15 years ago, still most of the searches for services by a client online would have been on a computer, not on a mobile device. And so on a computer, there is a good amount of real estate, if you want to call it that, on the screen. There's a good amount of real estate. You can see the paid advertisements up at the top. You can see the map searchings. You can see the top organic listings. Sometimes there's a paid advertisement over on the right corner. There's a lot of real estate for somebody to visually look at when they are searching, let's say DWI lawyer Asheville, DWI lawyer Gastonia, DWI lawyer Charlotte, right? Good amount of real estate. But with a mobile device, much less real estate there. So getting into the top 2 or 3 or 4 results is now infinitely more important than it was 10, 15 years ago, when most of those searches were getting done on a computer. Because again, the layout is very different on a mobile device than it is on the computer. There's just not enough real estate, and people are not going to scroll down that far before they hit call. There's going to be a much more finite amount of information about your particular firm if you show up in those areas. It's all condensed. Everything is condensed at this point because there's just not enough space for there to be a lot of content for any given result. So huge difference in terms of searching on mobile. Now here comes the next level, and this is voice searching. If you want to have a kind of scary moment or a very enlightening moment, ask your phone, hey, Alexa, or Siri, hey, Alexa, find me a DUI lawyer in Wilmington. Hey, Alexa, find me a DWI attorney in Hickory. Wherever you are based, wherever you are, if you want to have a scary and kind of enlightening moment, ask that question, because results will appear, and Alexa or Siri is going to offer whatever the top result on that front is going to be. They're going to say, hey, here's one of the listings that I found. Would you like me to call this person? Pretty scary in terms of how powerful that is. Again, and you might think it's crazy. People aren't going to do that. People aren't going to just ask Alexa for a DWI lawyer. That's crazy. They're going to do their research. They're going to go to each individual attorney's website. They're going to look at each individual attorney's website. They're going to take in information. I'm telling you right now, wrong. There are some people that are high researchers. My wife is one of those people. So I live with one of those people. And there are some people that are going to go and look up every bit of information before they even call an attorney, before they even talk to somebody. But there are a lot of people, and I would say an increasing amount of people, that are not going to take that additional step. They're just going to go with whatever that top result is, right? If they're searching for a generic DWI lawyer in your neighborhood, they are just going with whatever the recommendation is, because they don't have any other reason to make their choice off of, right? So again, if they don't want to do all the research, if they don't want to kind of go through every single list, they're just going to start at the top of that list and work their way down. And if there's a specific number that Alexa or Siri recommends, that's who they are going to call. So it used to be that attorneys, again, we're talking 30, 40 plus years ago, huge practices built off referral marketing, and referral marketing is amazing. It's one of the best ways to build your business. But in terms of where those referrals coming from prior clients, from people that they had developed relationships with in the community, from other lawyers, right? That all of these are referral sources. Who is the most powerful? Here is a rhetorical question. Who is the most powerful referral in your area? Who's the most powerful referral? There's two of them. One of them is named Alexa. The other one is named Siri. Alexa and Siri. These not real people, right? Not real people. This artificial intelligence named Alexa, this artificial intelligence named Siri, those are your two most powerful referrals at this stage of the game. And moving forward, they're going to become even more powerful referrals. Because why? Because how many times do you see people asking Siri or Alexa a question? All the time. When I first, it took me a while to get into kind of using voice questions. Originally the only time I would talk to Siri is just goofing off, just basically asking stupid questions. And that's a lot of fun. I mean, it's great to ask a bunch of dumb questions and see the responses. If you really want to throw your one of your kids for a loop, anytime you've got somebody sitting in the passenger seat of your car, tell Siri on your phone, hey Siri, please eject the person in the passenger seat, and see what her reaction is, because that is honestly just a blast. I did it the first time that I did it as a joke, because I didn't know what she was going to respond. good times. Just trust me on that one. Go make that one happen. It is really funny. But that was the only way that I used that. Now I do use it all the time to try to search for content on the web, to make it easier to get a map listing, to call somebody. I use voice command all the time. And the more that human beings start making their lives easier and using voice command, the sooner that is going to become the primary method of search. It's going to become the primary method of search. And the reason why is it's convenient. And even though Siri and Alexa get it wrong sometimes, they don't find what you're looking for, they don't know, that technology is being daily improved by some of the smartest people on planet Earth. It's being daily improved. So it is going to only get better and better, the technology that is behind voice command. And people, as a result, are going to start trusting more and more in those answers. People trust what Siri says. People trust what Alexa says when Alexa and Siri are asked a question. And so we have this built into our brain mentality of whoever Siri tells me to call, whoever Alexa tells me to call, that's going to be the person that I call. So again, it's pretty wild, scary, terrifying, eye-opening reflection, because again, 5 years down the road, maybe 10 years down the road, people are frequently going to be asking, "Hey Alexa, please find me a DWI lawyer in Raleigh." Alexa is going to have the answer for that. They're going to call that person. Alexa is going to be the number one referral source, or Siri, one of the two of them. They're going to be number one and two referral sources for your firm or whoever is at the top of that list. So, getting a grasp on that, and then figuring out how is it that I'm going to try to compete in this space is important. One thing that Alexa and Siri don't want to be is wrong. They don't want to be wrong, right? And that is why there is, again, some of the smartest people on planet Earth constantly trying to figure out how to improve the voice searching capabilities that are offered on the iPhone or on Android. They're constantly trying to push the envelope in terms of improving that technology. And so they don't want to be wrong. Siri and Alexa don't want to be wrong. So if they're going to make a referral, they want to make a good referral. They want to send you to somebody. This is kind of the big picture. And then we're going to talk about kind of money that is going to play into this as well. But big picture, they want to get it right. They want to send the person that is asking to the right person because they want to be trusted. This artificial intelligence, Siri and Alexa, want to be trusted. They want you to come back and ask questions down the road. They want you to be constantly asking more and more questions. So they want to send you to the right person. When I send somebody to a referral, if I refer a case to somebody and that person handles the case the right way, knocks it out of the park, does a great job, I get the credit for that. My client comes back and they're like, "Man, I'm so glad that you recommended John. He took care of me. He was so good. Everything that I needed, he already had ready to go. He was just the best." Right. On the flip side, if I send somebody to a referral and that referral is bad, not only does the client get mad at the referral, but more importantly, they get mad at me, right? "Man, I don't know what you're doing sending me to Dave, because Dave didn't return my calls. He had to reschedule on me several times. He was unprepared. His office was a mess," right? All of the, whatever the complaint is, if you send somebody to another person and they give bad service, you as the referrer are going to get blamed for that, and probably rightfully so. So what is the kind of one of the ways to stay at the top of Siri and Alexa's good list moving into the future? Be great at what you do. Be great at what you do, right? This is going to pay off. It's going to pay off as we're going to talk about a little bit down the road, but this is going to pay off in a major way. If you are responsive to messages that are coming in through Google My Business, right? Through the Google platform, client messages. If you got messaging turned on, you got to respond fast. If you don't have it turned on, you need to turn it on. If you are not answering phone calls promptly, Google now is tracking how quickly that calls are getting answered, right? If you advertise with Google, and likely if anybody is clicking on your business through the Google Maps, Google is tracking, are you answering this phone call within 10 seconds or are you not answering it within 10 seconds? And for the firms that are not answering it within 10 seconds, they're going to start getting moved down the list. I'm not kidding about this. This is happening already. I've talked with one of the Google reps about this, that this is part of what they are looking at and analyzing and tracking and measuring. And this goes into your process in terms of how this goes into the process of how are they ranking people. So ultimately, there's no gaming the system, right? When the wild west of internet, you could game the system. You could do you could do keywords on your website and you could do all kinds of marketing stuff to try to rise up to top of Google. Some of those things, we're totally within bounds in terms of Google. Some things would get you blacklisted with Google, and if you're doing bad stuff in terms of the marketing on Google, Google is going to kick you down because they recognize that this is not a legit site, or there's something kind of shady going on with this particular branding or website or design or whatever it might be. So, but as these things have developed, and as the smartest minds on planet Earth are constantly improving these things, you cannot game the system in terms of providing bad service. If you don't provide good service, so if you don't provide good service, you are going out of business. This is just going to be kind of more and more the trend as all of the kind of online major players start to analyze this data more and more. If you're not good at what you do, you are going to go out of business. However, unless you are great at the services that you provide, you are not going to be in the top listings on Google. You're not going to be in the top listings on Google unless you provide wow experience, unless you provide top level service. So there's no gaming the system. If you want to have Alexa in your corner down the road, if you want to have Siri in your corner down the road, you better be providing top level service, because that's who they're going to send people to, because Alexa and Siri don't want to be wrong. They do not want to send somebody to a person that cannot be trusted, because that ultimately is going to lead people to not trust Alexa and Siri. And Alexa and Siri want to be right. Scary, but important to know. Now, the other thing that's going to play into this as Google Voice technology develops is that this is going to start costing money. Right now, if you hold your phone up and say, hey, Alexa, find me a DUI attorney in Concord, somebody's going to pop up at the top of that list, but they're not really paying to pop up at the top of that list. At some point, probably not too far down the road, there is going to be a premium to appear in those voice search results. There's going to be the Alexa recommended lawyer. There's going to be the Siri recommended attorney. Again, I don't have any insight into Apple or into Google in terms of how they're developing this software, or when that might be rolled out. This is mostly going off of Gary V's predictions. But if you think about anything that Google is doing from this kind of service industry orientation, most of these things have kind of developed over time from organic search results into paid advertisements, right? So they test the waters by getting people to come in and list their businesses organically, get their websites, online organically, and they're trying to kind of see, what do people like, how are getting their algorithms the right way, and then once they've kind of figured that out, now they start charging, right? Google Local Services is basically Google My Business, but you're paying for it, right? Google Ads is basically organic search result, but you're paying for it, right? I mean, it's basically how do I get to the top listings in Google? Well, if you want to be at the top of organic listings, you better have a really good website with great content and relevant and the right keywords and everything. Or you can pay a monthly fee and you can be at the top of page one of Google by doing Google Ads. The same thing is going to happen in the voice world. At some point, that recommendation is going to be bad. And to kind of go back to this kind of moment of, if you have asked Siri who to find a DWI firm or a criminal defense firm or whatever area of law that you practice in your local neck of the woods, and there's a kind of a mess of listings that come up. Half of them aren't even practice area related. It just doesn't seem like good listings. Okay, they're gonna work out those kinks. So don't just look at that and say, "Oh, okay, this is crazy. This is never going to work." There's when I asked Siri to find me a DUI attorney, there was 3 personal injury attorneys, a family lawyer, and a criminal defense lawyer that popped up. Nothing really important that's kind of coming out of this. That is going to get fixed. And once it gets fixed and it gets perfected, or at least improved dramatically, that's when that cost is going to start coming in. So once that cost comes in, again, all the work that you put in terms of the branding and making sure that you're relevant and that you're a good person for Siri and Alexa to recommend, it still may not get you all the way to the top, because you may have to pay to be up at the top of those voice search requests, those voice search results. You're going to probably have to pay premium dollar for those results. So, and this is again directly from Gary V, what's the best way for you to compete at that point, to compete at that level? It is by being number one in terms of branding. Okay. You don't want people searching for DWI lawyer Asheville. You want clients saying, or potential clients saying, "Hey Alexa, call Minnick Law." That's what you want. You don't want them saying, "Hey Alexa, find me a DUI lawyer in Asheville." You want them saying, "Hey Alexa, call Minnick Law." So this is really the key, is understanding that the only way forward at this point is branding, right? Branding, you want people, when a potential client is looking to call, you want them to have heard about you, to know about you. You want them to have a friend or a family member or another attorney that is referring them specifically to your office. And so again, we've kind of taken down this level playing field of the internet, where everybody could get a website, where everybody could kind of have a chance to compete in terms of moving website up and down based on how they're building that, and the quality of content that is going on there, and layout and beauty of design and the speed at which it loads. All of those things were important in terms of the web world. Not to say that's not important. You want to have, I mean, you better have an amazing website at this point. I mean, it's 2022. You better get a website. If you don't have a website, we're not even going to talk about that. But you really have to actually go beyond that and become a world-class legal business. That's how you're going to succeed in the world moving forward, is by becoming a world-class legal business. And that means having the best client experience possible. That's in the service industry. That's what a world-class business looks like, is having the best client experience possible. Again, there's no shortcuts to this. You can understand the power of voice searching. You can understand the power of voice searching, but there's no little shortcuts in terms of, okay, well, hey, here's my hack for basically how to manipulate Alexa or how to manipulate Siri. Let's be real with ourselves. We are not going to outsmart most ridiculously smart people on planet Earth that work at Apple and at Google that are developing this software. We're not going to out manipulate these people because we, type in a certain search word or try to play some little game. We're not going to win that. So what we have to work on, what's within our control, is building the best brand possible, so that instead of a potential client saying, "Hey, Alexa, find me a DUI attorney in Greensboro," they say, "Hey, Alexa, call Minnick Law." I want them to call Minnick Law. You want them to call your firm, right? That's what we need to focus on, is that branding. And we focus on that branding by providing the best client experience, where people are screaming from the rooftops to other people about your services. Now, I mean, you can brand with social media, you can brand with advertising, you can brand in a lot of different ways at this point in the world. But the best way to brand is to deliver exceptional service to every client that walks into your office, every potential client that walks into your office, whether they hire you or not. Because I have had people that walked into my office that didn't hire me. Maybe they couldn't afford an attorney or whatever it might be. That still sent us a client down the road because of the way that they were treated by the team. That's what we've got to work at in terms of competing in the voice search age that is upon us. Okay, this is not some long-term prediction. People are already searching this way. Attorneys have already been found and hired using voice search. This is not something that is coming, years down the road. This is how the world is operating currently. It's just not most people operating that way. 5 or 10 years down the road, I expect that most people are going to be operating in that kind of lightning quick, hey, I need an attorney now, and going with whatever is recommended by the experts, and the experts are Siri and Alexa. Key takeaways for today. Really, first of all, you got to understand that the power of the referral is coming back. The power of the referral is coming back. That is I think a good thing. I think it's a good thing that referral-based business is coming back. I don't have any problem with marketing or branding, but it just basically it's based on good service. So understand that the power of the referral is coming back. And number 2, build a world-class law firm with exceptional client experience. Look forward to speaking with you next time. If you found the information in this podcast to be valuable, I simply ask that you pay it forward and share this podcast with another member of the legal community. Also, if you would leave us a rating or a review on whatever platform you are listening on, I would greatly appreciate it.